Yes, of course. Chelsea transfer strategy is becoming something that other teams, other clubs have to understudy critically and properly, because they seem to be something that you can't easily comprehend. Look at the manner with which they are recouping, a whole lot of money, from sales of players, as if the business is solely theirs. Of course, we must give it to them. If there is something that is actually going well with these current Chelsea owners, it's not that other than transfer. When it comes to player sales and all that, of course, they are unarguably one of the best as far as the entire Europe is concerned, because they have shown that consistency. Last season, I thought it was just one of those things. Probably luck played its part, and they were able to recoup almost a little more than what they even expended on a player's acquisition. That is very strategic. And of course, this transfer window, they have replicated the same thing. Chelsea has spent an average of £347 million in players' acquisition thus far this particular transfer window. But it may Chelsea to know also that they have actually recouped close to £300 million from the sales of players, and still have a couple of them yet to be sold. Which means by the end of the transfer window saga, one will not be surprised to see Chelsea, eclipsing or probably exceeding, the amount that they've been used to acquire players in terms of player sales. The revenue they are bound to generate from the sales of players will definitely going to surpass the total using bringing in player. That is exactly what makes it more interesting, because it's not just something that is easily enforceable. How they are able to do it over and over is something I think I'm charging every other teams, clubs in Europe to properly understand it, because it has become something that is very imperative for the rest of other teams to begin to look at their strategies, their methodology, and of course their approach when it comes to selling of players. For example, look at what the the amount that they sold Nicola Jackson at. Of course, this is a player that they got around 30 million from Vivillari, and they are selling him at 65 million pounds, over 65 million pounds. That is more than 100% increase. Look at Andre Santos. How much was used to get him aboard from Vasco Gadama? It's Vasco da Gama. He was there. Yeah, nobody actually knows him. And Chelsea were able to lure him into their ranks. And of course, at the rate of, I think, 12.something million pounds, 12 points. And they sold him at 50 million pounds to Man United. That is fantastic business. You can take it to anywhere. And again, look at the likes of course, that is homegrown player, the Jehovah's Son that have been sold to Como now, that is Chaloba. Of course, whatever that they get is purely theirs, close to 30 million pounds or thereabout. So we also have the likes of, Delap, that could not even produce anything for a whole season. He only had one Premier League goal to his name. And Chelsea bought him at 30 million pounds from Ipswich Town last season and sold him now at how much? Nobody can believe that. That is almost close to 50 million pounds. That is unbelievable. And so that is, it's an unbelievable marketing strategy. That is exactly what it is. Look at the way they are actually, that's super profit. Look at the manner with which they are getting it on board. So I am super impressed with what they have been doing in terms of trying to realize a lot, from the sales of player. And there are host of others. The list is endless. And it's becoming more and more very interesting. I don't want to talk of Terry George, the homegrown player, just sold him, whatever it is, just come to Chelsea this thing, and a host of others that I can't even record now at the moment. So that is why they are indeed, will I call it king of transfer in terms of player sales. And of course, Enzo Fernandez has not been sold. Remember, should that one be sold around 140 million pounds and all that, you can imagine to take the total sales over 400 something million pounds. for just one transfer window. Who can beat that? Of course, I give it to them. You just have to understudy this thing. They know what they are doing. They know why they are doing what they are doing. And of course, that is why we should call them master strategists when it comes to transfer business. I give it to them. I throw away my car for them. I take that to the bank.